All right, John Driskell Hopkins, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
Hey, just wanted to start off by saying Daylight is a phenomenal record.
Thank you.
I absolutely love it. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get there on that. But I do have to mention, you know, that Daylight, the actual song, I cannot play that on my iPod without having to repeat that song at least 2 or 3 times.
Wow, thank you.
And so it's a great record. But I want to back up first. And by the way, Jerry Douglas, really?
Yeah.
Man, if
yeah. He's very gracious to play on it. He's just brilliant. And we met him at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival in '09.
Nice.
And he comes out and sits in with us once in a while. His band was just out in Texas opening for us, and
Sweet.
and so whenever that happens, it's nice to get him on stage, and then you know, you can recruit him to do some songs for you, and if he's into it, then you're blessed, you know.
Man.
So I'm excited about having him on there.
I'm telling you, if I ever read anything where you say you're not connected, I'm going to have to call BS on it.
Yeah, right.
Because
Well,
man, he is the man.
He really is,
Yeah.
you know, one of the best in the world, and,
Yeah.
and a very sweet guy too.
So let's back up a little bit, and let's talk about, you know, the history of your influence and your music. So I've always been a fan of gospel bluegrass as well. So when I was growing up in South Georgia, I remember an old AM station. I can't remember the dial of it, but we always used to sing these songs in church, and I would pick up this station, and it had gospel bluegrass. And I couldn't really, I knew I loved it, but I didn't know much about bluegrass.
Sure.
And so it just really touched me in the harmonies and things like that, that old-timey feel. I
Right.
always loved that. Did it have the same kind of impact on you when you...
Well, absolutely, and anybody who has spent a lot of time around any kind of worship music can relate to other styles.
Mm.
You know, it's not the same kind of stuff we learned in choir at First Baptist. It's not the same kind of hymns I used to sing at Grace Episcopal Church.
Yeah.
You know, some of these are very structured, very rigid, almost written hymns, but majestic.
Mm.
And then the contemporary Southern Christian music is more ballad oriented and down more of a pop road. And then you get into the gospel bluegrass, and it's bluegrass music with spiritual themes, and
Yeah.
and so, you know, as somebody who grew up in the church and in the South, it's not a big stretch to go from there to a total, you know, straight up gospel R&B to a Southern Baptist thing, and then back into hymns. And bluegrass music in general appeals to me for its structural simplicity.
Oh, nice.
And its technical diversity. I mean, the guys who really play this stuff burn it to the ground. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been playing this stuff since they were babies, and they've just destroyed it. You know, it's like they're so good at what they do that anybody who gets in a room with them can just be amazed. And the gospel aspect is also, you know, in those ways, just their way of glorifying their religion. And
Yeah, so, I mean, you've got, you know, some of the bigger guys, the Doc Watson, the Ralph Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've listened to a lot of that growing up. But you also have a few maybe obscure kind of folks. Red Allen in the Blue Ridge Mountain Boys, his band from back in the day. And who were some of the people that you could call out?
Well, the bluegrass community itself is very family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of family stuff like the Stanley Brothers.
Oh, absolutely.
And then on the gospel side, you'll see like the Isaacs. You know, we just played the Grand Ole Opry, and they melted it, man. They were like, there's a, you know, just up there harmonizing like they were, I don't know, related. And they were.
Yeah.
So it was like hearing the same voice with different timbres, and
Yeah.
just the way they rose and fell with their melodies and harmonies. And there's so many of them that have influenced me along the way. Early on, it was more of the things that my dad used to listen to, and a lot of those were more standard country, like Marty Robbins, like crooners. and like Kenny Rogers for the songwriting thing, and Willie Nelson for the songwriting and the singing thing, and guys that really sang from the heart and were very clear vocalists, and that really always appealed to me as well. And and getting into, obviously, I'm a student of the genre, very in the past several years, much more intensely than I have been in the past, and I think it was probably in '69 when the Osborne brothers put out Rocky Top. It really changed the way that bluegrass was perceived across the United States.
I think Red Allen actually played with them for
a while.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think you're right. I'm not sure.
So
I'm still learning. I would be guessing on that question on the test.